So let's meet in order. That's all on the agenda. First topic of conversation is the marijuana updates.
So, Joe, do you have a written down what the items that were left out of the ordinance?
Yes, I think I do at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think we've been to a public hearing already. I think the question really is,
Another town meeting, special town meeting?
no, it's been through a public hearing. I believe you just need to present the ordinance to us in the correct format with all the words in it. And we take it to another, a special town meeting. We'll do that.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd really appreciate it if you'd fire me as chair of the planning board for having
I can't fire you.
a mistake.
We can't fire you. We already determined that. We can't fire anybody on the planet.
We don't want to. I'll see if I can find somebody to fire me.
You gotta find some other sucker that'll do it.
No, it's been a very complex set of issues to address.
Yeah.
I really I know I'm not supposed to say that, I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing. I really do. I know I say it every week, but I mean it. I just, I feel bad. It did, that first one didn't pass, but I think people are really, don't want these little houses dotted all over the place.
I think it's more, people don't want to be told what
I
to do
agree with
in
you
the
on
state,
that as well. I do.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with you on
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a home rule law that, like Norm said, it's non-existent.
This is. Let me give you an example, is that the state said you have to implement LD 2003 and the tiny home law, but they left us the ability to set a number of the parameters and how we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what we did. So through home rule, we managed
True.
to put together an ordinance that minimized the impact.
Mm-hmm.
There was, within the law, the ability to do much more than what we did. So the home rule only goes so far, and so those things that we have authority to do, we can do, and those that we don't, we don't. I understand that we don't like to be told what to do or how to do it, and it goes against what we envision for our community, I think is the biggest.
Right. Right, yeah.
I think part of it is the actual law was designed by a Maine Real Estate Association and brought to the state.
Mm-hmm.
And said, here, this is what we want, and they shoved it at them, and of course, push this through. And now this organization is turning around, and if you don't, do the LD 2003, then they're going after these small towns.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to take a look either way.
What would be the benefit to somebody like that to spend all kinds of money on lawyers? I can see if somebody's going to, we denied you a housing project, but, that's a reason to sue, but just preemptively sue?
Because they want this, like cookie cutter cutout, of all the towns to be all alike. They want,
It's not up to them.
It's not up to them,
right.
But this is the group that is heading the...
It's actually bigger money than you think in that. This is actually almost a copy and pasted the state law from the California law. California and Oregon did it, and the same dark money involved with our illustrious governor and legislature. There's involved with that. So that's why we're the third
But
state.
part of it is coming from this, the main real estate,
Which is probably in cahoots with whoever they didn't come up with it on their
What
own.
it is it's big development,
Yeah.
like Augusta Housing, stuff like that,
Yeah.
that wanna see their, housing units in our town. I mean, they did a survey a number of years ago, I wanna say 25 years ago, to see if, they could put a development in our town or in Sebago, they were doing Baldwin and Sebago, and nobody flew for it because we had no services. We have no, we don't have, we don't have town water, we don't have,
Education, water, school.
we don't have, like supermarkets, we don't have taxis, stuff like that.
Buses.
Yeah, so it's like, they said no at the time, and they think just because it's starting to flow this way, that now's the time to get on the bandwagon, and
No, I get you.
it's not,
No.
it's like, we need to protect our town.
Right. Well, it's like, I mean, the selectmen did their due diligence, we did what we were supposed to do, presented to the town made their decision, and they're gonna have to pay for the ramifications of it.
When you think about it, it's kind of an interesting dynamic here, is that the state passes a law that requires you to implement it, so it requires the citizens of the town to vote on a law that, and implement a law that they don't like.
They don't want,
Yeah, right.
exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, I mean, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, there is, I agree, I think that's why one reason it got voted down, is because it just, that's the way it feels like now,
Yeah, well, but it's, and it, I don't know, I haven't run into that situation. I've lived all across the U.S. and around the world. I haven't run into that situation before where the upper authorities require you to vote to do something you don't wanna do. It just doesn't seem right. But that's the way it works, because we do have home rule, and home rule allows us to make our own ordinances, so it's kind of this.
Before we started working on the LD 2003 compliance, we talked a lot about how the land use ordinance needed to be looked at and revised. And so, while the bulk of this was LD 2003 compliance, there's a lot of little things in here that were coordinating our land use ordinance and streamlining it, making it agree with other ordinances. I'd like to talk to Michaela and see what we can do to pick out of here the stuff that wasn't LD 2003, because that's what got this defeated. Okay?
Yeah, it's the only thing, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, if land use, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd like to go through and see what else there is in here that we could move forward with.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
do it when you do this other thing, that you said we have a special town meeting to put in that phrase.
This is
No,
not
this is
required.
gonna
They're
take
gonna
time.
look into
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
The Winters project.
Yeah.
What's it?
Anything else on that? Chad, you got anything?
No,
What's that?
yep,
Bruce, got anything?
no, other than I walked a trail out here this
Did ya?
morning, and it is kinda nice. And there is a place where you can jump off and go down the railroad tracks, ain't nothing West Baldwin, Hiram, and come back. But I wouldn't advise that much, because I'm suffering tonight.
It is, it's a
If
long
you go
way
far
around
enough, you
there.
can get to the drugs.
Oh, that's, I probably went by plenty of them.
Did you walk on the training track itself? I mean, 'cause it's kinda like.
The dogs
bumpy.
preferred going down on the rails, so
Yeah.
yes. And
Okay.
every once in a while, I can convince them to go to the side for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I walked out it a little ways, but I still want to walk always down there too, so.
There's a couple places that are gonna need some footbridges.
Footbridges?
Yeah, it's dry now, but last time I went in, there was some wet spots, and there needs some.
Oh, I would say it was dry today, but
Yeah, no.
there's some places it's washed out, but that's gonna be up to somebody else, or they're gonna rip the track out. There's places that's washed out there.
But, no, it looks pretty good.
There we go. Mary, you have it?
No, I don't, just, I already said, I appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you. Mary Ellen?
No, I'm all set.
Joe? No? Carol?
Okay to listen.
Yeah, guys.
So Joe, thank you for, the planning board and all the work that they did on,
Yeah.
land use ordinance. I do believe at some point we'll be in compliance either through the courts or whatever, but it really depends on what the people wanna do. You know, if nobody complains and nobody takes us to court, I don't know.
I won't do anything if nobody puts pressure on us.
Yeah, and as Dale said, I don't think the state's got any enforcement activity right now anyway, I don't know.
Plus, there's no reporting on it, we don't have to report, I mean, somebody could literally rat us out, I guess, but, you know, and then you go to,
If someone wanted one.
that's when it's gonna bite us.
Yeah.
When
Well,
Joe
you're supposed to be doing
Joe
it.
developer
How come
comes in and
yeah.
says, hey, I want this.
Yeah. I said, well, it was voted down during town meeting,
Yeah.
we're off the hook on it, but,
Yeah.
The planning board's off the hook on
I
it.
don't understand the discussion that David had about, going to the appeals board. Somebody wanted to put in an ADU or something, and can the appeals board rule on something that's
They can't rule in favor, they can rule against, but they can't rule, their mandate doesn't allow them.
the mandate is to enforce the ordinances?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, the disadvantage is that if somebody buys 1,000 acres in town and, or, you know, whatever, and says, I wanna put in X number of houses, this ordinance would stop them. But now they get to define the ordinance that they obey. If they're suing the town, they get to say, well, this is what I want, and they define it,
Mm-hmm.
rather than us. I think that's the disadvantage of it.
They would obey the ordinance as it is currently written.
But I mean, if they sued and won, they sued to say you should comply with LD 2000.
Maybe, I don't know, you know, they may get to define it more, to their advantage of.
Yeah, that's what I mean, rather than to our advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
But once you go under a subdivision, you're under another ordinance.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so really, this is for the onesie-twosie development. Not the 500-y.
Yes, right, yeah, yeah.
Which is, so that's interesting to your point, Dale. Who has the money to sue to build one or two houses? I mean, $20,000 just to get into court.
Particularly a house of that size too, Joe, but if it's supposed to be really small.
Yeah, you don't make a lot of money on a
Yeah.
700
Yeah.
square foot house.
Well, yeah, the ADU, but I mean, the ordinance as it's written and as mandated would say that you had a 6-acre lot and had all the frontage and everything. In theory, you could get 2 additional houses on it for a total of 3. At the density requirement, kind of like a little subdivision, you know?
But it's a subdivision, so you gotta go to the subdivision ordinance.
No, it doesn't, not under this rule.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
That's what I say is that,
okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kinda curious because when Kenny and I we bought 45 acres first. We now got almost 60 because we bought the land down, our right of way was on, all the way to the main road. But we got a permit and we don't have any road front, we didn't have any road frontage unless, I suppose you could call a Lombard Road was.
Your driveway becomes your frontage.
Yeah.
Well, we
You've
didn't
got
have a
200 feet of
driveway.
driveway, don't you? Do you have 200 feet of right of way?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
So then that's your
Yeah.
frontage.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, I get it now, all right. I get it.
Me and my ex-wife, got land from my parents, we have an old road that goes up in the back field. We use that, that's the 200 feet
Okay, so
right
that's,
away.
okay,
We
so
use
that's,
that, and,
all right.
and all it is an access to the cemetery
Okay,
field.
when you say that, when you said that initially, though, I just kept thinking that you meant a main road, and we didn't have any on the main road.
Right.
At the time, we do now.
Anything else there?
No, I'm good.
Bob, got any? No. Robin?
I'm all set, thank you.
Reminders, we got, planning board this Thursday, and the town office is open Saturday, last Saturday of the month. I say we're done.
Thank you very much.